Morning to you and welcome to Morning Cafe this 15th day of August 2023. It's a pleasure to have you right here. And even as the Devolution Conference, the 8th Devolution Conference kicks off today, we are here to bring you the live updates from all the way from Uasin Gishu County, Eldoret Sports Club. That is where the 8th Devolution Conference will be happening from today all the way to Friday. And on the other end, we will be having the Principal Secretary for the State Department for Culture and Heritage to discuss matters culture and heritage as far as the country is concerned, and also see how we can incorporate a devolution to that. Hello and welcome to Morning Cafe. I'm Flora Limuki.
Yes, definitely. And even as you actually mentioned that, our question of the day this morning comes from that particular conversation you'll be having with the Permanent Secretary. We are really curious about this morning. You as a Kenyan, do you still follow your social norms and your cultural norms? Talk to us on our social media platforms. Do you, by the way, Flora?
I do.
All the way from Meru?
Oh, yes.
Strictly.
The first thing is, do you speak your mother tongue? Do you? You don't. Oh my God.
Well, okay, the greetings.
Not only greetings, even the proverbs. Actually, you should know proverbs in Kisii.
Tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow, I'm coming here with a Kisii proverb.
Great. At TV47 News on X, at TV47 Kenya on Facebook, the hashtag?
The hashtag is Morning Cafe. That's a big story this morning.
And top story this morning, as the country strives to align with the evolving financial landscape, especially at a time when the emphasis on cashless transactions is rapidly intensifying, occasioned by the onset of COVID-19 pandemic, Safaricom has announced a significant increase in the daily limit for M-Pesa transactions. The giant telco had capped daily transactions at 300,000 shillings, but following a recent approval from the Central Bank of Kenya, this figure is set to rise to 500,000 per day. This is the second time Safaricom is increasing the transaction limit after the first one was approved in March 2020 from 150,000 shillings to 300,000 shillings. This move is set to take effect today, Tuesday, the 15th of August 2023. It will be a major boost for the small and medium business persons in terms of daily transactions in the country.
Right now to today's diary this morning, and the first off, as we told you, all the roads are leading to Eldoret town. It was Uasin Gishu County, and the 8th Devolution Conference is expected to kick off today till the 19th of August as Kenya marks the 10 years of devolution. This conference has been themed 10 years of devolution, the present and the future. And trust that we will be having this particular conversation, and we'll obviously be crossing all the way to Eldoret later on. Oh, and by the way, Fred is on standby. Fred Indimuli, good to see you, by the way. We'd like to have you. Okay. Right, we'll definitely, be having, him, this particular roundtable. He's there, looking quite excited, by the way. I'm curious how the weather in Eldoret.
Do you know every morning Fred says how hot or cold is your coffee? I presume today we are asking how chilled is your mursik from Eldoret?
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the last time I even tested mursik was the last time you were around there.
Yeah, when I was in Nandi for the 2022 elections.
Oh yes.
Really nice.
Fred, wherever you are, when you come back here on Monday, would love to be sipping some mursik.
Some mursik.
Most definitely. And even as you have seen, Fred is standby all the way there in Eldoret, and we'll be crossing there live in a moment's time. But still on the day's diary, apart from what will be happening, rather is happening in Eldoret town. Starting today, that is Tuesday, all M-Pesa customers will enjoy increased daily transaction limits and increased account limits of 500,000 Kenyan shillings following the approval from the Central Bank of Kenya. And from that into matters agriculture, The National Coffee Exchange is expected to be reopened Tuesday, as ordered by its Chief Executive Officer, Rispandungu. 11 farmers' cooperative unions will take part in the trading and auction for the first time in the history of NCE. And today also marks the 77th Independence Day for India, which is today. Every year is marked by hoisting the national flag and singing the national anthem. So it's a big day today for India. And before I actually get into today's diary, the Social Security Fund, NSSF, will be releasing its financial statement. And the whole aim of this meeting is to present the report to promote understanding of NSSF and allow editors to ask questions related to the whole fund taxation and duties, especially in the light of proposals in the new NSSF Act and the Finance Act 2023 that took effect on 1st July 2023. Now, today in history is an earthquake of 8.0 magnitude kills over 500 and injures more than 1,000 in Peru. And back in 2021, a day like today, Taliban fighters take control of the Afghan presidential palace in Kabul, Afghanistan. That is today in history. 11 minutes past the top of the hour, time to get into what is happening in the dailies. Have me Daily Nation, they have the Standard, have the People Daily. We'll also be crossing all the way to
Tanzania
and also hopefully have
those by the
Uganda.
Yes.
You can start with the Standard Daily Nation.
Standard. Let's do the Standard because it's the talk of the town this morning.
Okay.
The headline on the Standard this morning is Devolution, a moment of truth. National and counties leadership converge in Eldoret to take stock of 10 years of devolved governments. The country has seen successes, failures, opportunities, and big lessons. It has also improved infrastructure, healthcare, but with fair share of white elephant projects. That is the top story on the Standard this morning. Of course, state of the counties at a glance there, the hits. Good progress effort recorded on county level infrastructure, circulation of money resources at the grassroots, participation of people in governance and development, considerable progress in managing devolved health function. And some of the misses of the devolution: low revenue allocation, missed targets and stalled projects, poor disbursement of funds from national government, widespread corruption and mismanagement of funds, and disproportionate share of functions against devolved resources. And still on the Standard, on the top strip, Boma's team agrees to anchor talks in law. That is the whole conversation concerning the mediation talks that began yesterday between the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions. That story is on page 8 of the Standard this morning. And M-Pesa takes on banks in cash battle. That is based on our top story this morning concerning that increase of daily transactions from 300,000 to 500,000 daily, as announced by Safaricom yesterday, of course, okayed by the Central Bank of Kenya. And some matters sports there. Top strip of the Standard, Stars Eye World titles. Matters sports there extensively on page 34 and 35 of the Standard this morning. Still on the Daily Nation, WorldCoin, we have collected data for a year, court told. Data Protection Commissioner Immaculate Kasait has moved to court seeking to bar WorldCoin from either transferring or processing data collected from Kenyans. That story, that was the biggest talk head of last week, is extensively on page 6 of the Standard this morning. And matters education here. Will a new funding model save varsities? A new plan means for the first time, universities will get funding for the full amount they charge for a program, unlike before when a government failed to remit money. That story is on page 10 of the Standard this morning. That is pretty much what we have on the Standard this morning. Stanley, on the Daily Nation.
Right, on the Daily Nation, I think can't really see much as devolution for them on the front page. Let me start on the top strip of Daily Nation, matters education. Machogu, that is Education Cabinet Secretary, Ezekiel Machogu, says 26,000 teachers are waiting transfers to their home counties. That story is extensive on the back page of it, and it gives you matters in numbers. That now is the whole back page telling you 18,017, the number of primary school teachers waiting to be transferred back to home counties as of June 30th, and 8,854, the number of secondary school teachers waiting to be transferred. Next to it, MPs to pass motion on Ruto-Raila crisis talks. So the technical teams to frame agenda as dialogue set to resume on Monday. That is next week. We did see them yesterday meeting from both sides. Now, for the big story, global lenders have pushed for layoffs. Pardon me. So jobs scandal, two tribes got nearly 60% of KRA slots. The public wage bill crossed 1 trillion shillings mark last June, eating into nearly half of the national revenue, and the crisis will worsen due to bad hiring habits and open theft. Daily Nation has spared hectares of that from page 6 and 7. Gives you, number one, audit reports reveal how state agencies routinely violate the law by employing more staff than required, adding to the wage bill burden. Number two, looting of public funds through salaries for ghost workers is reaching a crisis levels, as the latest Anti-Corruption Commission report shows. And also MPs are furious that Kenya Revenue Authority had gathered 788 out of 1,406 revenue service assistants from only 2 communities. And counties without set staff ceilings are on a hiring spree, which has seen devolved units spending up to 50% of the revenue on salaries. Now, a story that is on page 8, state explores fuel subsidy to check rising pump prices. So government is exploring a cheaper fuel consignment to reduce the runaway retail prices, but has to compensate oil dealers still selling the expensive stocks. On the right side of the Daily Nation this morning, and Rugo Quarry cons prey on investors. Prospective homeowners are falling victim to fraudsters posing as officials of mines in Juja, selling building stones. Page 12 on that. And an NTV investigation exposes the abuse of budding female athletes by rogue trainers. It is on Daily Nation. Do you have the Star there? If we take a look at People Daily.
Not yet. Look at the People Daily.
You have it?
No.
Okay, have the People Daily. Maybe you can take a look at it.
Okay. Yes. Quick look at the People Daily this morning. The headline there: MPs hold keys to Boma's talks. The team agrees on ground rules. Parliament has asked to pass law that will entrench Obasanjo team and shield it from court action. Of course, that story is on page 4 of the People Daily. Raila in talks with Azimio governors ahead of conference. Before even we move to that, remember there's a technical committee that has been formed in the Parliament to formulate the agenda of the discussion of the mediation talks following disagreements between the Kenya Kwanza side and Azimio coalitions on what really should be the agenda for those talks that are ongoing. And Raila, Azimio One Kenya leader Raila Odinga held a consultative meeting with members of the Council of Governors from the coalition at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation offices in Nairobi yesterday. The meeting came a day to the Devolution conference, which kicks off in Eldoret today, and of course we expect the opposition leader there to be speaking in Eldoret come Thursday. Yeah, it will be great to hear his take on devolution 10 years later. And men eating tenders meant for women, CS Kipchumba Murkomen addressed his guests when he inaugurated the Women in Construction Forum 2023 in Nairobi yesterday, of course, accusing men of using dormant women proxies to irregularly bid for contracts meant for women in the business. That story there is on People Daily, page 6 this morning. And on the top strip of People Daily, Kipchoge wins first round in 360 million land tussle. Of course, this is the former marathoner Kipchoge Keino, and that story is on page 8 of the People Daily this morning. Away from that, Mau Mau Road, a risk to wildlife. That's what we have on People Daily.
Now, that's PD. I have BD here because Business Daily. And Business Daily matters taxes. The new taxes push cars beyond the reach of more Kenyans. So actual car taxes jump 14.69% on average, and taxes outpace the 10% import duty. So they have a whole graph there showing you how everything is giving you the whole model and the current and also previous and also price, by the way. So a Toyota VX 4600cc going about 14 million Kenyan shillings. Toyota Prado 2750cc, giving you all that particular breakdown of that. And on the left side of Business Daily, Safaricom triples daily M-Pesa limits to 500,000 Kenyan shillings. Away from that, well, yeah, I mean, saying we as to at least tuko na kakitu huku nje ile hiyo 300,000 kidogo ilikuwa kidogo. Yes, even for director or to a WorldCoin, at least they can smile to the bank.
Oh, yes.
And on the right side of Business Daily, UK firm eyes sale of Kenyan tea estate in sexual abuse scandal. And Ruto reinstates fuel subsidies in U-turn. And just to have a brief on that, the government yesterday reinstated fuel subsidies in a major U-turn as it moved to caution consumers from skyrocketing pump prices following the arrival of a cheaper consignment last week. And okay, that's one particular story that is going to raise eyebrows and form a major discussion even the entire day today and the whole week. Away from that, keep off Kenyans' eyes. Court orders WorldCoin as probe underway. The High Court has barred cryptocurrency from WorldCoin from collecting data from Kenyans pending the determination of a petition filed by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. All right, okay. Told keep off the eyes of Kenyans.
Okay. I think time now to have a look at Taifa Leo this morning. The top headline katika gazeti la Taifa Leo asubuhi hii, kiazi moto, hot potato. And we do have the leaders from both Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions there. Head of dialogue team, kiongozi wa Wiper Kalonzo Musyoka, vile vile Kiranjo Wengi Mungeni, Kimani Ichung'wah. Vile vile tuna matakwa yao pale, gharama ya maisha, kufunguliwa kwa sava, kukagua matokeo ya kura ya urais wa mwaka 2022, ukatili wa polisi. Na mrengo wa Azimio na Kenya Kwanza ingali inavutana kuhusu baadhi ya ajenda za mazungumzo ya pande mbili yanayotarajiwa kutatua mzozo wa kisiasa ambao umedumu nchini kwa mwaka mmoja sasa. Pande zote zimeteua kamati za kiufundi kukubaliana na kuhusu ajenda za kujadiliwa, lakini kufikia jana hazikuwa zimepigwa hatua. Zimepiga hatua. That is the whole conversation concerning the mediation talks. Na kuna mvutano kati ya pande hizi mbili zinazoshikilia msimamo mikali kuhusu masuala makuu. That story is on habari hiyo kikamilifu katika ukurasa wa pili wa gazeti la Taifa Leo asubuhi hii. Vilevile katika gazeti la Taifa Leo tuna gavana amulikwa kuhusu ajali ya Londiani. Serikali ilimtaka atimue maafisa wakuu 6 kwa utumizi mbaya wa shilingi milioni 14.5. Still on the Taifa Leo, on the left strip, Raila akemewa na waasi wa ODM. Wabunge waliohama chama chake wamkashifu kwa kutumia lugha ya matusi dhidi yao kwa kukumbatia serikali. Vile katika Taifa Leo kuna maisha namba yaja badala ya huduma namba. Serikali kuzindua mfumo mpya wa kutambulisha raia wake kwa njia ya kidijitali tofauti na awali. Of course, looking forward to see what will be different from my huduma number. And away from that, kansa ya mapafu. Pata habari kuhusu asili ya ugonjwa wa mapafu unaendelea kuumiza bara la Afrika, huku ulimwengu ukiadhimisha siku ya kimataifa ya kansa ya mapafu mwezi huu katika jarida la Afya Jamii. Vile hiyo taarifa iko katika ukurasa wa 13 na hadi 17 katika gazeti la Taifa Leo asubuhi ya leo.
Asante sana. Now let's cross over to Uganda. Byarugaba asks court to save his NSSF job. This is on the front page of the Daily Monitor. So there's a complaint here. Mr. Byarugaba suggests that the decision by the minister not to endorse his reappointment was malicious given her known bias against him. By press time last evening, the court had not yet invited either Ms. Amongi or the Attorney General to the response, rather to file their response, following which a hearing date will be fixed. That story is on page 5. And just finally here on Daily Monitor, new rules set for online money lending. And what else looks interesting here? Below Daily Monitor, amongst homecoming, okay. Show of power or wealth, and 186,000 companies struck off register. Have about 2 or so minutes to take a look at
favorite session.
This is a particular, segment that really shapes up.
Now that Fred is not here to do that thing.
Oh yes.
Time.
Oh yes. That's you're holding the Daily Nation.
Yes.
Showing us page 17 of the Daily Nation, and caricature that looks like your Senator Coons. There, it even has one of those lapel pins. Senator Coons holding a red telephone. Quick, we have to find an alternative term for quote-unquote handshake. And table there, caricature that looks like Azimio leader Raila Odinga and President William Ruto. Another caricature
actually dying to put it down to see what is actually in the paper.
And another that looks like Rigathi Gachagua, each of the backs facing each other. I don't know if it's going to be self-explanatory, but then let's look at what the Standard has before we have our judgments there. On the Standard this morning, page 12, the USA is not involved at all in the ongoing talks. It is a domestic issue. Caricature there with the lapel pin with the foreign affairs. So you'd really have to say who that is. Could probably be cabinet secretary.
Yes.
Could probably be
I don't know.
It just has a pin that says Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
So the fact that the eyes are blindfolded speaks volumes, by the way.
Yes.
Either this caricature is not seeing the truth, is not, maybe does not want to see.
Oh, yeah.
The cartoonist really gave us a lot of homework here.
It's very interesting. Today's cartoons are all very catchy. And I'm torn which one to go with, but I think the standard...
And the fact that even both of them
speak of the same agenda.
And also US is also, you know, part of it.
Yes.
And actually, yeah, I mean, you know, the thing ongoing talks,
yes.
And here it's also ongoing talks.
Yes, it's interesting, and I think I'll go with the one for the standard because is it standard or yes, standard? Because the subject of the matter here is Chris Coons. This is a senator for Delaware who we've not seen him. This is not the first time he's here.
That time.
Yeah, we saw him. Yes, this is that time since the 2022 general election was held. And we saw him in 2018 before he's actually said to have brokered the handshake between former President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, the then opposition leader and currently the Azimio leader. So I think whenever we see him, it's not rocket science to imagine the agenda he has.
And raised,
exactly.
And raised and all that.
Yeah, and even as with the new government, there's now the transition to more of, we've been looking more of Western, so they have to be key when it comes to matters such as decisions and crisis in the country. And it's interesting now for the standard for the CS, probably for foreign affairs here, is it seems to know, he's closing his eyes, but again telling us the US is not involved. I can't see. Yeah. But clearly we know Coons was here. He met with the Azimio leader, and he said to have met with the president, although we didn't see pictures of it, but of course is likely to be here for that specific reason. So it's very interesting cartoons today.
Right, I will go with the Daily Nation, and even Daily Nation. The last time we were looking at some of this, caricatures and the cartoons, we'd see plain papers with nothing on them. Yes. On the Daily Nation this morning, the table that is here, both papers have something, have been written, but then right now they are. Also, President William Ruto, having is, directing, and giving him some instructions there. Yeah. So again, really speaks a lot. I'll go with Daily Nation this morning.
Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. All of them matters talks. Let's hope these talks are for the better for the Kenyans. They're Kenyans. They're Mwananchi driven.
Most definitely. But let's speak of talks. Even as we have our own talks right here in studio, I would love to now take you all the way, a journey all the way, travel all the way to Eldoret town in Uasin Gishu County, where Fred is. He was complaining about the chilly cold, saying he envies us right here in studio. Fred, I don't know if you can hear me. Very good morning to you. How are things looking like, by the way, there in Uasin Gishu County, and specifically in Eldoret town where you are?
Well, thank you so much, Stanley Nyaringita and Flora Lemuki back in studio in Nairobi. I can tell you it's quite chilly in Eldoret. 10 degrees Celsius. We keep talking about chilly mornings in Nairobi. I tell you, this one, you are yet to experience it. I'm missing that coffee in studio. I know it's warm up there. But the conversations here in Eldoret at the Devolution Conference 2023 are even hotter. 10 years of devolution. The theme here is 10 years of devolution, the present and the future. We're coming to you live from the Eldoret Sports Club, the venue for the 8th edition of the Devolution Conference, the first biannual conference being hosted by the Council of Governors. And this morning, I'm privileged to have with me here the Honorable Francis Muya Mwangi. He's a member of the County Assembly of Uasin Gishu, representing Langas Ward. He's also the leader of minority in the House.
Yes.
It's good to have you here.
Welcome.
We were also to have the Speaker of the County Assembly of Uasin Gishu, the Honorable Philip K. Muigai, but I think because of the cold, he was not able to make it this morning, but we hope he's okay wherever he is. Now, I was listening to the headlines being read out by Stanley and Flora there, and yes, it's good to note that the Standard went with a very bold and daring headline, Devolution, Moment of Truth. National and counties leadership converge in Eldoret to take stock of 10 years of devolved governments. The country has seen successes, failures, opportunities, and big lessons. It has also improved in infrastructure, healthcare, but with a fair share of white elephant projects. Now, Mwanamuya, you've actually been through the 10 years of devolution.
Yes.
Before that, you had the privilege to serve in the Eldoret Municipal Council. So you can actually tell the difference between what was happening back then and now. Okay, paint for us a picture. The difference between Eldoret Municipal Council and the county government of
Thank you, Fred. First, I want to take this opportunity to welcome everybody to this devolution conference. In Uasin Gishu, we are very hospitable, and we say that all the governors, senators, MCAs, and their government, you are all welcome to the devolution conference. Feel free and walk around to make sure that you know Eldoret better. Back to your question, Fred. I want to say that I served as a councillor in the then defunct Municipal Council of Eldoret, whereby we were just a section in the local government, being run by a person by the name Clerk, the clerk of the municipal council. By then, we had very meager resources, very few resources. But and our area of operation was very small. The number of employees was very small, but I can tell you there was a good coordination, but we were lacking fund. Unlike today, with the devolved system of government, we have a lot of money. Uasin Gishu, we are now doing more than 9 billion budget, unlike what we were doing then. And I can tell you for free that with devolution, the money that come to county government, if well utilized, within 20 years, Kenya ought to have been turned around. Because I can tell you that with proper governance in the devolved system of government, we can be able to address our road network, our health facility, our security issue because of lighting up the estate and the towns, and sewer system, providing water to our people. But that could not have happened with the defunct council.
But you said curiously that if this money could be spent in a better way,
yes,
meaning it is not being spent in a way that you would say is
Fred, from
good?
where I sit, is that public money is not properly used, because 70% of all money that goes to the county government goes to the recurrent budget. Only 30% goes for development. And those development, as you said, is being written on some papers, is that some county government are coming up with white elephant project. What I would say is that can we come up with a formula of how we can increase the percentage of the money that goes to development so that we can change the life of Mwananchi? And the oversight of this money needed to be enhanced to make sure that every shilling can be accounted for.
Yeah, the argument initially in the advent of devolution was that the first government, the first county government, had the burden to set up the structure for the county. And probably that's what they were doing for the last 10 years. Yet we're still facing the same challenge even now, that some counties, we hear, a county that neighbors yours, still does not have infrastructure. And they have to come to Eldoret. They are operating from Eldoret.
Fred, you know what the problem or the mistake Kenyans are doing when we are electing governors? Some are looking for very good politicians, and that should not be the case. A governor should be a manager, a human resource manager, a manager who can be able to take care of the county resources, so that with the vision being held by other leaders, he can take a county to a next level. But what is happening today? You find a governor who is politicking day in, day out, and he should be in his office, in his county, trying to address what is affecting his people. Therefore, what I would say that need to be relooked into, and the oversight role by enhancing MCAs need to be enhanced. Let us not downlook the MCAs. I can tell you, for example, what is happening in Uasin County. As a county assembly, we looked into it, the issue of overseas saga, the issue of Finland issue. We came up with a report, which the Senate is also page-marking with. What am I saying? Whatever the national government is doing, the county assembly can do, so long as they have been empowered. Otherwise, the way they are being downlooked, governors are going to swim into this money. They are going to do their own thing. But what I can say, a good governor, for example, former governor of Kakamega, Mr. Oparanya, he's an example of a governor that I would like to see in Kenya, similar to Kifudha Kibwana. Those are kind of governors that we have seen, we heard that they changed the life of their people.
Okay, back to the role of the county assembly.
Yes.
It is very much like the role that the National Assembly plays.
Yes.
Oversight, representation, legislation.
True.
Yet listening to you, you're talking about executing development at the ward level.
Okay.
And that is not the original plan for devolution.
Fred Indimuli, please get me right. After we MCA, because I have served in all the assemblies, when we saw that the governors are pushing development to different ones in a skewed manner, we came up, for example, in Uasin Gishu with the Uasin Gishu Ward Equalization Fund, whereby 40% of all development money is divided equally to all wards, so that every ward, because we have different needs, we can develop our areas. Okay? But you have said that we are not doing that work. What we said, every MCA or ward is given a resource envelope, 40% of that development money.
But who runs that resource?
It is the governor.
So what role does the MCA play in running?
Thank you.
Yes.
The role that the MCA take in Uasin Gishu is that we go for public participation with the help of a group we call Project Identification Committee. We come up with what the Mwananchi would like be done in their areas. We take it back to the governor's office, the executive, the roads, the water department, the health department. They come to implement. My role remains to oversight, to make sure that all those projects have been delivered for Mwananchi.
Okay. Now, because you say at least for Uasin Gishu, you've managed to legislate this fund for each county.
Yes.
There's the national debate on whether or not counties should have ward development fund for each ward. Even as the money is being disbursed from Treasury, it goes straight to the ward. Do you support that?
I think the debate is here. You know, when we talk about ward development fund, people are trying to replicate what the CDF does, whereby the MP is hands-on. Unlike what CDF are doing, in Uasin Gishu, we are not given that money. The money remains with the executive. My role remains to oversight. Therefore, all what MCAs in the country are agitating is that they would like ward development fund, that is to say, a given percentage, a given figure that is specifically going to develop a given ward. It does not matter whether they are going to, the constitution is going to be changed for them to control the money, but that should not be the case now. What needs to be done is that there should be a kitty that goes to a ward, the MCA oversight, but the executive, that is the governor, do the works as per the requirement of the people.
With the MCA oversighting that. But
the MCA should oversight to the very last coin.
We've seen this debate being the bone of contention in some counties. Meru, for example.
Yes.
Immediately the county government came into a place and the MCAs were all out, up in arms. They wanted that money and they wanted it immediately.
I want to advise you, MCAs, don't fight to be given this kitty-s money in your hands. fight for the resources to go to Mwananchi. Remain with your role of doing oversight, but the governor to do the works. What I will ask, I will tell the governors, don't be afraid. Don't be scared that MCAs are going to, we are not interested with their seats. All what we are fighting is that local, that village man, that person that I am representing, who does not have a road, who does not have water, who does not have sewer system, who have the insecurity because of, we want resources to go to that place because I'm the one who knows what affects my people. Therefore, money should go towards and not remain in the office of the governor.
But Honorable Mayor, if I hear you right, there seems to be a misunderstanding or a misconception about what the role of the MCA is.
Yes.
Yeah? Legislation, oversight, representation.
Yes.
When it comes to this argument about money,
yes,
that is where the problem comes in.
Yes.
Because it would appear that the MCA would want to play a leading role in the development at the ward level,
yes,
which is the work of the executive. That is why we have the county governor and his deputy and his CECs. If at all you are to take that role, then what would the governor and his people do?
The drafters of the constitution have had a very good idea, but we were not yet there. When we go to election, there are 6 ballots that people Mwananchi goes for. But who is a leader that they can attach themselves to most? Is the MCA. When you go and tell Mwananchi that I, Francis Muya Mwangi, am not supposed to relook into your road, making sure that your road is passable, I'll be kicked very early in the morning. Mwananchi knows that he elected you to make sure that you address everything affecting him, including.
Isn't that yet, therefore, the misconception by the voter that this is not the role of the MCA, but this is what I'm demanding from my MCA?
And then what am I saying? Therefore, civic education need to take place. If I were asked, that should be the case the way it is. But for the past 10 years, MCAs ought to have been involved in the day-to-day working with the governor, and then slowly it is switched to the way Senate is. For people to know that the role of development is not for the MCA, but for the governor. But right now, if you ask Mwananchi, the work of building that road, giving them water, making sure that they have a good facility, health facility, they know is their MCA.
If you
because most of them in the Muli, if I can tell you, they don't meet their governor. Even they don't know their governors. They only saw them during campaign. Therefore, what am I saying? These things need to be addressed because it's a true fact that Mwananchi are very close to MCAs, and therefore there is no way you can differentiate between development and MCA.
So if you are to balance, to remedy this situation and this misconception, if you are to balance between civic education to educate the voter on the role of the MCA, or changing the laws to allow the MCAs to actually execute the development agenda directly, which one would you go for?
With the level of where our country is, I'll change to a given percentage where the MCAs is directly attached to the development. Why? If the governor sent a road engineer in my ward, do you know that Mwananchi would ask me question more than the engineer? Therefore, I think the level we are in, the MCAs need to be involved. Why? The CEC, some of them even don't know our wards, surprisingly. But Mwananchi, who don't want to hear those stories, they want to hear, MCA, what are you doing for us?
Then what would be the role of the assembly?
That's the question.
Yes.
That's the question.
Because
what
if at all you're doing that
what
work,
I'm saying, what I told you, that looking at the level of civilization in our country, the first 10 years of devolution, we ought to have involved MCAs in day-to-day running of making sure that those development has been done. But slowly, within the 10 years, the civic education ought to have taken place to prepare Kenyans' mind that after 10 years, the way you see Senate doing is the way the MCA should be. only oversighting what the governor is doing. But currently, the civic education has not been done to Kenyans, and Kenyans knows they elected MCAs to bring development to their area.
Okay, and shortly we'll look at some of the nitty-gritties of devolution. But before we go to that, the other raging debate, especially around MCAs, has to do with their salaries. You've been agitating for better salaries.
True.
And part of the argument is, or the justification, is that this same voter wakes up at your gate.
Yes.
That if you take a walk from your homestead to the nearest shopping center, you will have at least dished out a few shillings.
Very true.
But surely that cannot really be the basis for a salary rise.
Indeed, that is not the basis. That is what is happening. But I want to thank the people of Langas Ward. I don't face those. Of course, they call me for the harambes, for their for different issues, but they don't come to my area. Thank you, the people of Langas. We meet in the office. We meet during execution of my work. Thank you. But go to a rural ward at 6 o'clock in the morning. You find 50, 100 people in your doorstep. Some of them, they want transport for their children to go back to school. Some of them are saying they slept hungry. Some of them, they say that they have sick person. And this MCA, to them, between Mwananchi and God, the only person between them is only MCA. Because where is the MP? The MP is in Nairobi, similar to the senator. But what is happening? It is the issue of civic education. Mwananchi has not been told that the MCA should not be dishing out money. Because that is not the culture I would like us cultivate. I would like to see an MCA, a leader who might not have money, but a very good leader. Because nowadays, people are going for people who have money, who can dish out money. But when they go there, they are not concentrating with changing their lives. Therefore, Kenyans, wake up. We don't want leaders who can dish out money to us, but we want leaders who can change our life. Back to the point of our salary we deserve. Why, Fred? Can you imagine? The governor is earning more than 900,000.
He's the governor.
Yes, I'm earning 144, and I'm supposed to oversight him. Okay, the CC, that is Waziri, that I vet in the assembly. Once his name goes through, he start earning more than 500,000, and yet I'm supposed to oversight him. The speaker, whom I elect, I as an MCA, I'm getting 144, but the speaker comes and he's being paid 560, being given a government vehicle. Therefore, there is a lot of injustice. What am I saying? We need to enhance the pay of our MCAs so that they can be leaders enough, they can have self-confidence, and we remove this culture of seeing as if governors, MPs, senators are small gods. MCAs are equal leaders like other leaders that we go to elect. But what they are lacking is a good pay. Therefore, kindly, Mr. President William Samoei Ruto, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, please, if you have a leader who meets with that Mwananchi each and every day, is an MCA at the ground level, at the grassroots level, and does a lot. In fact, Mwananchi does not know the governor. Most of them, they are so much attached to the MCA. Therefore, kindly respect the leaders.
The number of MCAs countrywide, 1,500, 1,600, definitely that will be a huge dent.
Who brought this number? Who brought it? It is the same constitution that brought rose the number of MPs to whatever number. By the way, what does the MP does? Come to Langas. Most development in that ward is being brought by the MCAs by fighting for the Ward Development Fund. But the MP, who is a good friend of mine, he brings bursaries, he builds school, he brings buses to school. But the issue of roads, sewer line, water distribution, security lights, it's under the office of the governor and is being brought by the MCA. Therefore, kindly let us respect MCAs.
Yet Well, the solution brought forth and the solution adopted by county assemblies in as far as making sure that the two-third gender rule is adhered to could also be a problem because now the simple nomination of people to those positions just to ensure that this rule is observed has made the number of MCAs way higher. MCAs who do not necessarily present any word.
That is just a scapegoat. You know, the issue of two-third gender rule was to bring some equalization when it comes to leadership matters. But I want to take Kenyans to our neighboring country called Rwanda. Most leaders are women.
Elected.
Elected.
Yes.
What am I saying? That Kenya, let us come out of this issue of we must fight for a given gender. If women today can fight for their space, no wonder years to come we might have more women leaders more than men. What am I saying? It does not matter whether it's a man or a woman. So long what we want is a good governance, is a good leader. It does not matter the gender issue. Look, go to the developed countries. Do we have this issue of nomination of so many people into the leadership?
So you do agree that system of nominating so many people just to cover the gap
need to be scrapped off. Why?
It's not working.
Even we are not bringing people who deserve. Why? Go and do survey. Most of the nominated people, it is so and so and so and so because of so A, B, C, D. What am I saying? There are very other good women who are left out there who ought to have been nominated other than somebody. I'm not saying whoever was nominated does not deserve, but I am telling you there is a skewed way of nominating these friends of some people into the leadership. But kindly, I don't want to offend anybody. What am I saying? That the issue of nomination need to be relooked into our country so that leaders can go to the ballot, whether you're a woman, a man, be elected and have the mandate of the people.
Are they as effective, the nominated MCAs in the House? Because most elected MCAs talk a lot about their wards. You're now talking about the ward development fund. You're not talking about the sewage, the roads,
That's
the people.
Question.
So how effective are these nominated MCAs?
I can tell you, out of 10 or 15, you will find 2, 3, 4 who are very proactive, more than an elected leader.
Proactive in what sense?
That they have people at their heart. Okay? They are fighting for women issue. They are fighting to make sure that the governor has done the right work. They're very good leaders. But what about the 10 or the most number? They are just there to earn because they campaign for a party and whatever. But what I'm saying, you are nominated MCA. You have equal right like an elected MCA. Don't just sit back. Wake up, work for the Kenyans so that you can prove you deserve to be there. But whatever most are doing, they are just there. They can't fight for anything because they are fearing for those who brought them there. Therefore, what am I saying? We want people to be elected. It doesn't matter whichever gender. And if it is nomination, let us go. Let us not go for a gift. Let us go for 2 or 3 very serious crusader of different issues, so that they can represent those issues. Because there are people who are very passionate on matters women. There are people who are very passionate matters female circumcision. There are matters who are people who are very passionate about fighting for the right of person living with disability. We can have 2, 3 people, but not 10, 20 to increase the number. No, that one I disagree.
Okay.
And sorry for them, for whoever I might have overstepped. Thank you.
Very interesting discussions here, I tell you, from Eldoret. You even forget that the weather, it's still 10 degrees. I think it has gone down to 9 now, 9 degrees Celsius. Wow. It is a very chilly morning here. We're still here with the Honorable Francis Muya Mwangi, the leader of minority in the County Assembly of Uasin Gishu, is also the MCA representing Langas Ward. We now take a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at the nitty-gritties of how devolution has performed over the last 10 years. We looked at the issue of devolved services, including healthcare, and how counties have performed. That after the break. You're watching Morning Cafe. we continue with our special coverage of the Devolution Conference 2023 taking place in Uasin Gishu County, Eldoret Town, where we are. We are actually coming to you from the Eldoret Sports Club, where we're having this discussion live. But before we continue with the conversation, I want to hand you over to my colleague William Moige, who's on the streets of Eldoret Town to actually paint a picture of what is happening there.
Well, Fred, you did not give me a memo of the chilly, how chilly it can get on this other side of town. All right, just as you have mentioned, Fred, we are coming live to you at the heart of Uasin Gishu. That is the Eldoret Town, and already you can feel, you can see the vibrance, the ambience of the city. Uasin Gishu, Eldoret Town is already awake, ready to host the 8th Devolution Conference, the first biennial Devolution Conference, which is set to be held here in Uasin Gishu County, starting today all the way to Friday. We're expecting a beehive of activities from this county of the great champions, County 027, which is ready. And as you can see, people are ready. Quite a warm reception that we have received from the people of Uasin Gishu County. But Fred, allow me to engage a number of residents, because this is very important. Quite an important discourse we're going to be having in the next 3-4 days here in Uasin Gishu County matters devolution. But what does it mean for the people of Uasin Gishu to be hosting the first biannual Devolution Conference here at the heart of the great county? I'm joined by one of the gentlemen already seemingly going to good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you? Good morning.
Maybe let us start off with your name quickly. And this TV47 live from Uasin Gishu County. We just want to feel from you, how is it that how do you feel as a resident of this county holding the first biennial and the 8th Devolution Conference? Starting off with your name.
Well, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Goro Gutu. I am a delegate from Nairobi, but I've spent a better part of the last 2 days here in Uasin Gishu. I must say that devolution has come to the country as a very good thing, because I've seen a lot of business opportunities here since I came here 2 days ago. I've seen residents here have gotten a lot of business. Some of them are doing motorcycles, some of them are doing sales of small items. So the Devolution Conference is a good thing, but devolution itself is a very good thing for the country, because the resources seem to have moved from Nairobi, and you can feel it in the villages. You can feel it down here, especially residents tell you this has changed, the county government has been able to do this. There's been a bit of devolution in itself as it is.
Let me pick this from you. Despite the chilly morning that we are having, traveling all the way from Nairobi, all 7 hours, 5 hours to 6 hours to Uasin Gishu County, what are you looking forward towards this great conversation, 10 years of devolution?
I hope we have a great conversation on how we can transform the agriculture sector in the country. The President is very keen on the President, His Excellency William Ruto, has been very keen on promoting a bottom-up approach, especially to these things of agriculture, manufacturing, affordable housing. So I'm hoping that in the next 10 years, devolution can make more sense to the country in terms of growing agro-business, because our foundation as a country will be heavily dependent on how we promote our agricultural subsectors. And for this conference, I look forward to having discussions on how we can promote the agriculture sector, how the country can benefit from the devolved resources, and what can be done to control the corruption and runaway, sometimes misuse of resources in the counties that ostensibly denies the common man opportunities, especially in regards to prosperity. Yeah.
Indeed. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to having this conversation with you once we meet at the Eldoret Sports Club. Well, that is where you have it from one of the delegates who has come from Nairobi all the way to Uasin Gishu, Eldoret, to be specific, just to be part and parcel of this conversation. But allow me also to engage residents of Uasin Gishu County. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Habari ya leo?
Mzuri sana.
Labda tuanze na jina lako na siku ya leo, kutoka siku ya leo hadi Friday, you guys, you're going to be hosting the Devolution Conference, the 8th Devolution Conference. Hii inamaanisha nini? What does this mean to you as a resident or as a resident of Uasin Gishu? Tuanze na jina lako.
Naitwa Jeremiah kwa nusu, aka JJ mwenyewe. Yeah, we are going to host the Devolution Conference from today. We are lucky kwanza
Continue.
Tunashukuru kwanza for our county to be the host. Na as a county of Eldoret, tunajua vitu vingi sana vimekuwa devolved kwa counties, na tunashukuru kwa maana county yetu imekuwa among the best kwa
Niko talk show.
Yes, thank you, William. We do apologize for that a lack of connection, but we'll be getting back to William Moige to continue sampling some of the views of the people on the streets of Eldoret about the activities. Of course, more than 10,000 delegates expected to troop into Eldoret town today for the beginning of the 4-day Devolution Conference. This is Devolution Conference 2023 happening in Uasin Gishu County. I'm still here with the Honorable Francis Muya Mwangi, the leader of the minority County Assembly of Uasin Gishu, MCA Langas Ward.
Now,
just before the break, of course, we talked about issues MCAs. But now let's go back to the bigger discussion about devolution. 10 years on, it is time to actually reevaluate some of the choices, decisions we made. One of the biggest decisions that we made, especially when it came to devolution, was devolving some key services, among them health.
True.
Now, over 10 years, we've seen quite a number of challenges. Are we out of the woods yet? And what is the biggest challenge when it comes to managing health as a devolved service?
Thank you, friend Indimuli. From where I sit and I've worked in the 10 years I've been in the system, yes, it was a very good idea to devolve the function, but unfortunately, we did not devolve enough money for the service. What is happening today is that most counties have concentrated with the issue of brick and mortar. What do I mean? Building of the health facility buildings, because you will find a county whereby they did not have a health facility. They have concentrated to come up with big hospitals and whatever. But after building the structure themselves, they realize we need the equipment, we need the personnel, and it is a huge issue to handle. Therefore, the issue of health center, the issue of having enough health equipment and personnel, that's where the problem is, and how to manage the issue of medicine. Because you'll find that a county government has a very good facility, but when you go there, you'll be surprised that patients are being clocked upon, but there are no medicine. Reason, they require a lot of money. For example, in Uasin Gishu County government, the most budget, the recurrent budget, goes to health sector, and it is not enough. It is just a drop in the ocean.
Is it the management of the HR, the human resource in the health sector, or the issue of procuring medication?
What I can say, okay, it is even better the way we are now than it was before, but still there are gray areas that it is only the health personnel who can sit down and address what needs to be done. Because a governor might not be have expertise when it comes to issue of management of the health issue. Yes, he or she has a personnel, a CC in charge of that. But I think it's a bigger question whereby both the national and the county government need to sit, reevaluate what needs to be done, what ought to be done, so that we give Mwananchi the best. COVID taught us that very facility closer to Mwananchi, it is what can save the life of Mwananchi. Therefore, we need to do more than we are doing today by making sure that we divert from only having the brick and mortar, that is the structure, and have the proper equipment, the right personnel, so that we can give our people
Okay.
the right deal.
Now, when it comes to management of human resource, especially in that health sector, the healthcare workers, there's been a suggestion that probably we could adopt the model of the teaching service commission, the teacher service commission, where all the health human resources handled from a central point, probably at the national level, and all these workers are just seconded to the county government. Do you think that that would actually remedy the situation?
To me, I think it will be a remedy, but their supervisors should not remain in the national government. The supervisors should remain in the county government, whereby they are being decentralized from a central place. But when they come to a county, they have somebody who is overseeing what they are doing. Because there is a possibility. You are sent from the national government, but you don't appear in a facility. Therefore, I would say that should be the case, but their supervisors, the supervision should be done by the county government, empowered, proper empowered, so that they don't look that this is a county government employee supervising me and I'm from the national government. Okay. Because I'm privy to information that before there was a doctor who was seconded to a given facility at the rural area, but you will mostly find him or her in Nairobi, in Eldoret, in a big town, doing his or her private work. Therefore, their supervisor should be domiciled in the county governments.
Okay. Let's move from the health sector. When we started this discussion, you mentioned that Uasin Gishu, for example, receives up to 39 billion shillings?
No.
Yeah.
Around 9 million.
9 million.
Yes.
9 billion.
9 billion. No, not 9. It is about closely 8 billion, and the rest is from the local source revenue.
Yes. So cumulatively, the money coming to the county or being handled by the county government is a lot. Yet the issue of corruption, and I know Uasin Gishu is not probably the best funded. There are other counties probably that receive even more finances from Treasury. Yet the issue of corruption is still key, is still hanging over devolution. Is there any way, because yes, they said we devolved services and functions, but we also devolved corruption.
True. But Fred, what am I going to say? Yes, we devolved the corruption, but still corruption is so high, so grayling in the national government because they deal with billions, unlike in counties. Yes, I want to say that something needs to be done on corruption because that is not the direction we want to take Kenya. I would ask Kenyans, this issue of I, me, and myself should be dealt with. Because how comes a governor is elected after 5 years, he's a millionaire? Where has he gotten this money? Therefore, what am I saying? Even this body called anti-corruption, what are they doing? They are coming, they know that there are corruption happening in county government, but because there are kitties that can take care of them, they overlook. Therefore, what am I going to say? That Kenya institutions need to be looked into, whereby anti-corruption work the way they are supposed to do. A governor should work as he's supposed to do. But in Kenya, we have domesticated corruption. It has come as part and parcel of our life. Even when you're sending your child to that shop nearby, if you don't give her or him a shilling to go and buy a sweet, he or she won't go. That is part of corruption. Therefore, kindly Kenyans, can we address this animal called corruption? Because we are doing ourselves disservice.
Hence the question, because governors and the Council of Governors has been clamoring for more allocation to come to counties.
But what have they done?
Because, and that's the question. If at all you're saying that a huge chunk of this money is disappearing through corruption, then why ask for more money? What is the justification for asking for more money? Is that more a bigger allocation necessary at this point?
I'll say that yes, we need more allocation, but before we are allocated, can we tighten the grip of fighting corruption? Because devolved system of government, devolved money should not come to enrich individuals. It should come and change the life of Kenyans. Come to Langas. We didn't have roads. We didn't have sewerage. We didn't have security lights. We didn't have water. But today, we are somewhere. We are not yet there, but we are somewhere. And it is just a drop of water. The 40% of development money, and development money in most counties are less than 30% of the whole budget.
But they say that even the county assemblies are part of the problem, that failure to actually perform your oversight role properly.
True.
And perhaps even the dalliance between members of county assemblies and the county executive.
Why is happening so in the bully? We
there.
come back to the issue of payment. If you are paying me 144, the governor is being paid more than 900 and controlling billions of money. If a governor wants to do a project, what will he do? Take MCS elsewhere, sweet talk them, and they agree to pass that budget. But most of the MCS, because they are frustrated. I'm not frustrated. I am where I'm not frustrated. Because I've worked from councillor to now, I'm not frustrated. I'm happy working for the people of Langas. But most MCAs in Kenya are frustrated because some of them are lawyers, some of them are doctors, some of them left very good job, thinking that they are going to do work and be paid well, commensurate to whatever they are doing. But that is not happening in Kenya.
So you do admit that county assemblies have abdicated on their role, oversight role, hence the inherent corruption that we are witnessing at the county level?
To certain level, I can say that county assembly has been incapacitated to do the oversight. For example, we need to have our own autonomous. We have to go through the executive for us to be given money by the control of budget. It should not be the case. County assembly need to be given direct money without going the executive. We need to be given enough money. We need to be given right salaries so that there is nowhere we are going to bed with the executive. That the current situation, truth be said, governors are going to bed with MCAs so that the governors can do their thing. Therefore, governors, fight for the MCAs to be given right salaries, to be given right status, so that you can work with the right people.
We are not hearing much of this debate about MCAs or county assemblies clamoring for independence from the county executive. It's just demanding for more salary. Don't you think that because you've introduced that one, the independence of the county assembly from the county executive, that could actually be part of the solution, that you would be able to perform, you'd be better able to perform your oversight?
For example, myself, if you can ask my governor, he's my good friend, but rarely do I go to his office. Why? I'm contented with what I'm given by what we domesticated as what development fund. That is what I'm fighting to change the life of my people. But to go and beg the governor, not Muya. MCAs, kindly stop going to bed with governors. Stop going each and every day to governor's office. Work for your people right in the assembly. And those assemblies that has not domesticated a law that we have domesticated in Uasin Gishu, come and borrow a leave, so that development money can be distributed to all wards across the county equally, and a given portion be left with the governor for capital project. That way, we are going not to rely so much on the governor. We are going to work independently, concentrate with the wards that we represent, and make sure that wards that were raised by the Mwananchi has been implemented by the executive. Okay. Therefore, it is possible not to...
For the county assembly to actually be independent of the...
I am an example.
Yes.
I am an example. You can ask my former governor, Jackson Mandago, how many times I went to his office. How many times have I gone to Governor Chelirim's? I don't go. Okay. And we remain to be good friends because I'm working, I'm delivering.
Okay. The other issue that comes up is away from the money that comes from the central government.
Yes.
The source revenue.
Revenue, yes.
We are seeing miserably low levels of revenue collection.
Yes.
Across all counties.
Yes.
Even the counties that would appear to have better capacity, They are still not collecting even,
you know why?
even 50% of what is expected
You know
of them.
why, Fred? You know, the drafters of the Constitution said that the CRA will give money to counties. By so doing, they did not motivate county government to do the collection of local revenue. What were we doing in the county council? The more you collected, the more you were given by the local government. That should be reintroduced, because there are governors who are not keen in collecting of local source revenue. They are just waiting for the allocation for the national government for them to operate. That should not be the case. You should concentrate with your local revenue collection, so that much you collect, much you are given. That way, we are going to remove this issue of having so much dependence to the national government. Even employment during local, the defunct municipal council. The local, as a council, we could not employ right, left, center. If you had a job opportunity, we could request from the local government for us to be given, but because we are another government, we have been given County Public Service Board. If you go to other counties, personal emolument are up to 60%, and they are supposed to be at 35%. Governors are thinking that to employ their youth, to employ their people. And in fact, if we have domesticated what we call tribalism, more worse, it is now nepotism.
Okay.
Who is who?
Okay.
The issue is not employment. The issue is giving services to the people of that county.
Yet county governors will argue that
Yes.
Collection of revenue
Yes.
is a very labor-intensive process, and most of them do not have the capacity, human resource capacity, also management, even systems that can manage revenue collection. What would be the remedy for that, if at all counties 10 years on are still talking about capacity issues to collect revenue?
Fred, if we have such a county, it need to be disbanded. I am not apologetic to say that. 10 years down the line and you don't have the system, then you don't have to be called a government.
Are you saying that Uasin Gishu County, for example,
Yes.
that you're able and you have the enough capacity to actually collect all the revenue that would be due to the county government?
If we all become citizens that we are supposed to be.
Where's the
Why?
gap?
First of all, let us stop this issue of tribalism, the issue of nepotism, the issue of who is who. Let us give a job because you deserve Fred. Okay? Let us not bring people because he's a so-and-so of a governor, of an MCA, or whoever. Let us give people position because they deserve. In Uasin Gishu, we are collecting close to 1 billion shilling. And I'm sure we can collect to 1.5 billion. If we all harness all the system and make sure that every coin is accounted for.
The other big discussion has been about the late disbursement of funds
Yes.
from the national government. Now, this is something really that the county executive cannot be blamed for.
Fred, let me deconstruct that. From where I sit, there is no issue of late disbursement of money. For the third term, I've been in the county government. You know, county government are using IFMI's way of procurement. And when you have procurement, end-to-end procurement, the moment the files are ready for payment and you present them to the control of budget, the control of budget releases the money. Okay? But this issue of governor saying that the fund has been delayed, it is the issue of recurrent budget, which is 70% of the family that are kindly.
So they're unable to pay salaries.
Yes, and it is them who have overstaffed. I'm sorry to say that. You think that your work as a governor is to employ. That is not your work. Your work as a governor is to change the life of that county. Before you were elected, you found employees. You think that you're coming to an empty government? The government has employees. The issue is that we have overburdened the national government with recurrent budget of county government. We need to address that.
Okay. Well, the other elephant in the room has been on the issue of pending bills.
Yes.
And this is a huge problem across all counties. The fact that once one governor leaves, then it means that all the suppliers, most of the suppliers may never be paid for
Fred Idimuli, let me tell you, this is the issue of individual governance. Why do we have pending bills? Because you had interest with those works, with those contractors. If indeed the contractor was awarded contract in the right way, why should him not be paid? If he did the right work, why should he not be paid? We have several counties, including ours. We have not been having those huge pending bills. Because government, when you found a work has been done, your work is to inspect. If it is satisfied the inspectors, the inspection certificate are raised, you pay. Don't stay with the money. To be given what? You have your salary governor. You have your salary, whoever, the whatever. Can you pay contractors? Therefore, the issue of pending bills is a creation of those leaders. Can it be stopped?
Is there any role that the county assembly can play in actually remedying this situation?
Yes.
Because it's a common situation across most counties.
Can I tell you, Fred? Personally, I enjoy working. All contractors that work in my ward, they have been awarded contract by the executive. And because I'm supervising each and every step, after completion of that contract, I make sure that the engineers come and inspect, and once they raise the certificate, I am the one who goes to the offices and tell them, kindly, the people of Langas are enjoying the roads, are enjoying the sewer light, are enjoying the street lights. Can you pay the contractors? I don't want to come back here. And I've seen it work. Therefore, this is the issue, is personal commitment of leaders. If contractors have delivered their work, can we pay them? You as an MCA, your work is not just to push for the work to be done. Your work is not only to oversight. Can you make sure that even that contractor who did that good work has been paid by the executive?
Okay.
That is your work.
Others may argue that a five-year term for a county governor may not be sufficient, especially as devolution is still at a fledgling stage. Still a lot of structures to be put up. And for someone to be there for 5 years, they leave a lot of unfinished work. And for someone else to come and pick up, maybe not necessarily with the same vigor that had been started. And maybe that is a problem, that counties where voters have opted to change their governors after every 5 years are suffering more than those who are at least. Is it true? Is it
very
a fact?
True. For example, Muya has worked from a councillor up to now, uninterrupted. And the development that I've brought it for the people of Langas cannot be compared to even to our neighboring wards, apart from Race Course, where most work has been done by the national government. What am I saying? A governor who served only for 5 years might not have done to the expectation of the people. What am I urging Kenya? It is good to give leaders enough time so that we have continuity of what they are doing. Because the first time a government, the first 2 years, he's learning. He starts working in the third year. The fourth year, the bell is rung that you need to go and seek votes. If you push him out, and he has known what is expected of him, you have lost.
Okay.
Similar to an MCA, similar to an MP. But again, there are leaders who are not supposed to be re-elected, whether a governor, whether an MCA, whether an MP. If you have not lived to the expectation of your voter, there is no any other choice. Go home.
Okay.
Yes.
Let us entertain this thought about a possible relook at the laws, at the Constitution, because it is also 10 years of devolution, 13 years since we promulgated the Constitution. There are those who feel that probably, and even the conversation at the national level with what is going on with the bipartisan talks, is that it could be a moment, it could be a constitutional moment, an opportunity for us to relook at the laws we had. Would you, for example, consider extending or changing the term limits for governors from 5 to single 7-year terms or 10 years? Do you think that would actually help? That for a governor to actually be able to implement some policies, you need a longer period?
The issue of time, to me, I don't want to go that way. Because developed countries, America, UK, it has worked. It is how we go into the leadership. As an MCA, as a governor, as an elected leader, there's those who come into leadership with this mentality, I have become a boss. You are not the boss. You are the servants to the people. If I'm the governor, come, have a sitting with the employees that you have met of every department. Where are you? And where can we go? What don't we have? What do we need? That is the issue that we are lacking. Therefore, what am I saying? We should not change this constitution. What we need is to put our leaders to task. They should stop these shenanigans of thinking that when you are elected as a governor, you need to come with all new employees. There is somebody the county government has invested in. He's an expertise in a given area. Use him or her to better your government, to take your government to the next level. Therefore, the issue of term limit, let it remain, because we might also, if we give an extension for that governor who is not performing, who is just deep-rooted to corruption, we are going to disadvantage that county. Therefore, let us not engage that conversation. Let us just go the way we are.
Yet, this discussion about a possible relook at our laws.
Yes.
Because earlier, as we were talking, you talked about the understanding about the roles of the MCA vis-a-vis the actual role that you would want to play.
Yes.
And that would probably mean a relook, an adjustment.
Yeah.
Do you think that 10 years of devolution is enough time for us to actually revisit some of the laws which are specific to devolution and actually change a few, tweak a few things here and there?
To me, true, is a good time for us to relook into, but not to look at the term of any given leader.
What would you suggest that we relook at, if at all there are any such discussions?
And on how, governors, they take themselves to be small presidents, small gods of county. I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to say that. They need to look themselves as servant of the people. Look, for example, a case scenario, UK. We have seen even prime ministers who leave their office once public have lost confidence with them. That is not happening in Kenya. What we need to do is who is supposed to go to leadership. In Kenya, we have taken leadership to be for everybody, especially wealthy people. Leadership is not for wealthy people, my dear brothers, my dear Kenyans. Leadership is for those who have the life of Kenyans at their heart. If we have such leaders, I remember the word of Peter Kenneth one time when he was looking to be a governor of Nairobi. He said, we need a good manager, and not just a manager who have a track record, which is not happening today. Kindly, when we are electing leaders, governors, MPs, even the president and MCAs, let us have people who have a track record of what they can do, what they have done, but not just people who have come, sweet talkers, give us money, and we call him a leader. No.
In that same vein, because we're talking about a possible relook at our laws, because at the national level, there's a discussion, because part of the agenda before the bipartisan Kenya Kwanza Azimio team is the entrenchment of the CDF. Which has already been declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Here, at the county level, and in Uasin-Gishu, you've enacted a law similar to the CDF, affecting the county, the wards. You call it Ward Development Fund?
Yes. But it is not controlled by an MCA. It is just a law to domesticate, to remove money from the governor's office to every ward equally, and the works are done by the executive. My work remains to oversight. So you can't compare the two.
It is just the necessity of the same. If at all at the national level we're having that discussion to entrench CDF, isn't it time, therefore, that we do and standardize the same across all counties?
In fact, I support that the CDF, we should scrap it. We should have MPs similar to
what development fund.
All money that come to development on the ground should come to the county level, run by the governor, but oversight by all leaders. That development should be devolved to all the wards equally or equitably. Because, for example, What is the work of an MP? You know, they should be in the National Assembly domesticating or coming up with laws of checking the national government. But leave what pertains to the county government, to the governors, and those, but they should come and oversight what the governor is doing.
So you support the entrenchment, if at all, a proposal to entrench the word development fund in our laws, but not the CDF. Yet,
you are not getting me, Fred. What I'm saying is, what is the essence of us having money from the national government to Mwananchi? Is to uplift their life. Where is Mwananchi? He is at the lowest level of governance. That is the word. Therefore, all money pertaining to development should be centralized and equitably reach every ward in the country to make sure that we change their life.
Yet with the CDF,
that is my point.
With the CDF, members of the National Assembly have mostly used it for bursaries. Education is not a devolved function.
Yes, for bursaries, for building schools, for buying buses. What else?
It is not a function for the county administration.
It is not. Who's, you know, that's why I'm saying all development should be brought down to the lowest level.
So devolve education as well?
To whatever percentage. We need to have what is to be devolved. For example, the other day I was in a school that is in my ward. This is not my function. But they had wrangles, the management wrangles. But as a leader, can I stay aside without going and saying what is happening? What I'm saying is, in Kenya, we need to sit down and have a conversation. What need to be domesticated? What need not to be domesticated? Because Kenyans deserve better. How are they going to get better? By leaders coming together, seeing what is not working at the national level need to be devolved, and what is not working at devolved level need to be taken back so that Mwananchi can be given what they deserve.
Because now this week is the opportunity to discuss some of those things.
Yes.
Is there any function that is currently being undertaken by the county government that you feel, no, county governments do not have the capacity to handle this function? Probably it should be taken back to the national government.
I want to restructure a question. Not anything to be taken back. It is for more money to be devolved. For example, health services. It is good for those services to be devolved. But the issue of personnel, it has become a huge problem to the county government to pay them and the like. And we need them. Therefore, what we can say that maybe the employment of doctors, the whatever, need maybe to be domiciled elsewhere, but the management of them be domiciled in the county government. So we need to share these functions. Okay. The issue, for example, of County Public Service Board. And I want to categorically state that if there is a place we went wrong, is to have County Public Service Board. Correct me. But what has happened? We have encouraged corruption and tribalism in county government. We have moved, other counties have moved from tribalism to nepotism. That should not be the case. If I am to be asked, I think the issue of employment need to be centralized somewhere. The county government need to say that we need this number of employees. Let the interview be done elsewhere, okay? And the field, if we want an engineer, we don't want to know whether he's a Luo, he's a Turkana, but we want a good engineer. But what is happening? We are domesticating him here. We employ an engineer, but because he's a son of so-and-so related to the governor, that is not the direction we want to go. We want the children of Kenya to be given equal opportunities. Therefore, the issue of county public service need to be relooked into. Is either we tighten the rip of what they are doing, or that function is taken away.
Wow. So human resource management is a big issue for
It's a big issue. Because you find somebody has been employed because he's a sister, she's a relative of the governor. She has been brought to a given department. And because the governor wants to leave him or her at a good position, he's given a level whereby he's earning even more than his superiors who have worked for 40 years, for 20, 30 years. We are demoralizing our employees.
Okay.
Therefore, the issue of human resource, County Public Service Board has become puppets. They have been captured by the office of the governors, and that has to be relooked into.
Wow.
I can't apologize for that.
I tell you, the conversations 10 years on after the advent of devolution. These are the conversations we're having here this week, this entire week, really looking at the devolution and whether or not it's working. The theme, 10 years of devolution, the present and the future. And I'm still here with the Honorable Muya, the leader of minority in the County Assembly of Uasin Gishu and the MCA for Langas Ward. And I want to take you back to my colleague William Muige, still on the streets of Eldoret town. And he has more to tell us. William, what do you have for us?
All right, thank you, Fred, on the other side of Eldoret Sports Stadium. We are also on this other side. We have just joined, we have come into this particular place where it's going. This is where we are going to host the 8th Devolution Conference here in Uasin Gishu, Eldoret. I just want to paint a picture to our viewers on how any delegate who's planning to come to this part of the country, specifically to join in the ongoing Devolution Conference, how things are going to be. As you can see behind me already, security is being beefed up. As you can see, police officers from all units, that is Kenya Police, the regular police. We also have the administration police who are also here. And I can see men and women who have donned in National Youth Service uniform. So that means this is a joint collaboration to see that security is well maintained and everything goes as planned. No hiccups, no security hiccups. And that is why you're seeing a heavy presence of police at this particular place. If we could move just to paint more on you, still the preparation is taking place. As you can see, more washing points are being placed here to ensure that hygiene is also of concern. The tents are still being put up. Remember, this is the first day of the 8th Devolution Conference, the first biennial Devolution Conference, which is going down here in Uasin Gishu County. And this particular place is going to host more, to be specifically 47 counties. That includes the host county, that is Uasin Gishu County, and all this particular place is going to hold more than 5,000 delegates from across the country who are going to be here in Uasin Gishu. If we could move just to show you and paint quite a more clear picture to you. On the far end, as you can see, live pictures coming to you from the Eldoret Sports Club. Those are flags from all the 47 counties. That means each and every county is going to participate in this particular exercise, just to get to see, to get to discuss, to get to also to highlight some of the challenges and also the steps that have been taken through devolution. If we could move again, maybe let me take you direct to the main auditorium where this thing is going to be happening. Johnson, if you could move with me so that we can give live pictures to our audience on what is happening here. That will be the main auditorium where the president is going to be hosting, and also the president is going to be officially launching this particular 8th devolution, whereby we're expecting this will be taking place tomorrow, that is on Wednesday. But for today, we are going to be having sport activities, including marathon and other sports activities, whereby all the 47 counties, specifically those who are in the county government officials, we are expected to be participating in. Well, there you have it. Those are live pictures from coming to you. That is the main auditorium. It is going to host quite a number of people who are set to participate in this particular devolution conference. And just as I mentioned earlier, President William Ruto is expected to officially launch this exercise. And also we're expecting the former Premier Raila Odinga to also, or that is on Thursday, to give a speech to the delegates and also persons in attendance of this particular occasion. 10 years of devolution, quite a journey, and this is the place where they are going to discuss the past, the present, and also the future in terms of devolution. 47 counties, 48 governments, including the national government. We're expecting cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries. We are expecting also to see members of parliament, senators, and also members of county assembly, members of the CECM. Those are ministers in the county governments. Also, we are expecting to see directors, and also, most importantly, the person who matters most, the mwananchi. All these persons are going to be in this particular place. Maybe if we could move again, just to paint a picture to you on what is taking place. We are seeing some setup that is still ongoing. And also, quite a quick reminder is that all the 47 counties will be having their stands. That means all the 47 counties having their stands, they will have an opportunity to exhibit what their county is well known for. Let's say if we're talking about Kericho, we're expecting to see them exhibit talking of matters agriculture, talk of tea, talk of coffee. When you go to Embu County, we're expecting them to tell us about macadamia, tell us about mogoka. I heard there is mogoka juice. All right. Live pictures there. You can see more men in uniform being deployed here. Those are men donning in the National Youth Service uniform, and they are going to aid in beefing up security in this particular area. Remember, no hitches are expected. It is expected to be 4 days of seamless activities. There is a security desk being put up there. That means security check will be happening here. Remember, if you are supposed to be coming to this particular event, you'll need a special pass so as to access these facilities. And that is according to the Council of Governors. That is one of the expectations so as to access this place. All right, live pictures coming to you. The flags of the 47 counties, the flag of Kenya, the flag of East Africa Community. Live pictures there from the Eldoret Sports Club. The setup is still continuing. Remember, no much activity is expected today. Just the sports activities. Then later on, we'll be having the official opening. That is tomorrow, a beehive of activity that will be taking place. Discussions in terms of the steps that devolution has taken for the past 10 years. And also, maybe to show you, we're also having some of the tents, the last minute rushes, some of the tents and seats that they are going to be taking place, a standby ambulance there. So this is to ensure that everything goes as planned for the next 4 days. But for now, Fred, from this other side of the facility, I now take it back to you to the other end of the facility. Over to you, Fred Indimoli.
Thank you, William Moige, from the other side of this layout here at the Eldoret Sports Club, the venue for the Devolution Conference 2023. And what's happening now is that I'm still here with the Honorable Francis Muya Mwangi, and we want now to wrap up our discussion. Honorable Muya is a leader of minority in the County Assembly of Uasin Gishu. It's going to be 4 days of interesting discussions around devolution.
Yes.
10 years on, it is time to take stock.
Yes.
As you give your final comment, what is the one thing you'd want to really be canvassed during these 4 days?
What I would really want to see being canvassed here is how, as a leadership, we can be able to work together. Because when we go to be elected, we are one. for example, whichever side are fighting for the person to be the president, for the person of their party to be the governor, down to the lowest level, okay? But once we are elected, we did that great. The MP works for their own, the Senate works for their own, the governor works for his or her own, and the MCA likewise. What I would like to see is all elected leaders need to work together, and more so, those that matters for devolved functions. Senate, governors, MCAs, we need to really work very closely. The governor, you should accept to be oversighted by the county assembly. County assembly, do your work. Stop going to bed with the governors. Senators, as you say that you take care of the devolution. Can you fight for the MCAs to be better paid so that this issue of governors downlooking their MCAs come to an end? Everyone stick to his or her job so that we can make our counties better and admirable to everybody.
Thank you so much. Honorable Francis Moya Mwangi, the MCA Langas Ward, is also the leader of Minority County Assembly of Uasin Gishu. Asante sana for your well-considered opinion, especially on matters devolution. And yes, these are the kind of conversations we'll be having here this entire week at the Devolution Conference 2023 happening in Uasin Gishu County at this venue, the Eldoret Sports Club.